Good morning, folks. This is Mr. Dan coming to you from the landscape design classroom. And today I'm going to be talking to you about emergency planning for the floral shop. So what's our main idea here? How can emergency planning help avoid risks in the floral shop? So risk, the chance of loss or injury. Risks are unique to the type of business. It is important to have established written safety procedures and policies. Employee safety training includes initial training for shop safety and procedures, signed statements saying they have read and understood all of the trainings and safety measures, statements kept with an accident record book, and updates for changes or new procedures. A lot of this stuff will fall under OSHA protocols and safety. So I always remember that your employer is to provide you safety trainings, and any issues that occur must be kept on file at the workplace. So risk assessment, purpose is to identify hazards and decide on precautions. Ways to control risk include eliminating, training, practicing safe procedures. As I always preach here in class, safety, safety, safety. Make sure you know how to use something before doing it, and how to properly do things within your job site. So record and implement all risk assessment findings, environmental hazards such as clearing snow, mopping up spills, moving things to prevent tripping, structural hazards such as a buckled sidewalk, loose ceiling tiles. Safety training includes informing and training all employees of safe working practices, making a safe shop environment, setting up accident procedures, knowing evacuation and emergency procedures, and setting up emergency contact information. So moving into record books, this is information about any accident either inside or outside the shop, used in daily risk assessment and plans to correct problems, and records all accident details. And as I said before, this should be on the job site readily available upon request to review. The shop and workroom, a well-stocked first aid kit, firefighting equipment, emergency escape route, safe awnings, blinds, or window treatments, depending on the level of your business, and steady and secure shelving and display units. So making sure not only you are being safe, but everything in accordance, such as your bookshelves or shelving being adhered to the wall as needed to ensure that they don't fall over on you. So moving into the first aid station, should be located conveniently for all employees, assigned to label first aid kit green and white color. That should be very visible. I know in class here, ours are red and yellow for safety data sheets, but whenever it comes to first aid kits, they should be green and white color. So includes a notebook to document injuries, and a note here at owner's discretion, locate a second smaller first aid kit at the emergency tornado area. Typically, we like to keep 2 safety first aid kits right as you walk into the business, in a closet, or wherever it is easily identified and you're able to get into it. So types of first aid, labeled for general business, 24/7 OSHA compliance, serves more than the minimum number of employees. Fire safety, posted evacuation procedure, steps to follow, determine what is burning, can you put it out? If you're unsure, you need to leave the area immediately and call 911. The fire triangle, as you can see down here on the bottom right, for fuel, oxygen, and heat. Removing any of these 3 elements will put out the fire. So if you have a fire burning and you have a blanket, you can throw that on top to put it out. If it is too strong, you want to make sure that you get rid of one of the sources, so throwing water on it. But as it says above, if you're unsure how to do this, or what you need to do to put out that fire, then you need to leave that area immediately and call 911 before it gets out of control. So if you choose a fire extinguisher, choose a fire extinguisher with shop materials in mind. Some fire extinguishers are meant to extinguish more than one class of fire. Most common type is the ABC, can be used for 3 classes of fires. Class A extinguishers are used for fires that occur in ordinary combustible materials Examples of this would be wood, cloth, paper, rubber, and chemicals. Class B is used for fires of flammable nature. Examples of this would be gasoline, oil, paints, and solvents. And Class C is used to put out fires that occur near electrical equipment. Some examples would be for computers, air conditioning, electrical wiring, electric heating units and motors. Hailing gas may also be used on Class C fires for computers and sensitive equipment. Class D extinguishers are used for combustible metals. Some examples of these would be sodium, magnesium, and iron, and contains a dry powder. Class K extinguishers use a purple letter K for identification. These are used for fires involving vegetable oils, animal oils, or fats used in cooking, and uses a potassium-based dry powder, purple K. Federal Safety Code colors. Color-coordinated tape on the floors is one of the easiest ways to mark the areas that need to be indicated and identified as a safety precaution area. So, red would be danger, fire protection equipment, emergency stop buttons, portable containers of flammable liquids. Yellow for caution, physical hazards, waste containers for combustible or explosive materials. Orange, equipment parts that could crush, shock, cut, or injure an individual. Black on safety yellow or solid purple, radiation hazard. Black and white for housekeeping equipment, storage areas, traffic flow patterns. Green for first aid and safety equipment other than firefighting equipment. Blue, tags indicating equipment that should not be moved or used. So chemicals in the shop. Florists use, store, and sell many potentially dangerous chemicals. Examine and follow label directions that I always talk about. Store chemicals safely. Typically, whenever you have chemicals on a site, they should be in a yellow locker or something designated yellow saying chemicals on the front of it. If you would have somebody stop in to take a look at your chemicals and they're not, if they're not being used, they need to be in those receptacles at all times or you will face a fine. So a safety data sheet needs to be on file for each chemical in the shop, just like it is here in the classroom. Detailed description of the physical and chemical properties of a hazardous chemical, explains possible hazards and treatments. Helium tanks. Helium is stored in a pressurized tank under great pressure. Protect the tank from falling or rupturing. Secure the tank to a post or anchor in the wall. Moving into tornado procedures. This is a safety action plan. Typically, we don't get a lot of tornadoes in the area, but you need to have a plan for this. You want to have updated inventory lists and backup business information, weather radio with extra batteries, designated safe location, emergency plan to deal with customers, emergency kit in the shelter area, and just some definitions here. Tornado watch is conditions are favorable for a tornado to form. Be prepared to shelter if conditions worsen. Tornado warning, a tornado funnel has been sighted or indicated on weather radar. Take shelter immediately. Turn on and listen to the weather radio. Always be informed. Head to the store safe area with employees and customers away from windows and glass. Assume the tornado position facing the wall with your head between your knees. After the tornado, call 911 if there are injuries. Use extreme caution when moving through the building. Check for debris. Look for structural damage inside and outside. Photograph all damages and contact your insurance agent. You should contact your insurance agent immediately after taking those photos because the longer you wait, the less likely you will be to get what you need back through insurance. Wear gloves, long sleeves, and sturdy shoes during cleanup because you don't know what you could be dealing with, whether it be chemicals, glass, or any other sorts of sharps that could puncture you. Florist insurance. Law requires adequate liability insurance coverage on employees and for customers. Business property insurance. Other customized coverage also is possible for spoilage, auto, and equipment. The bottom line here, a floral shop contains a number of potential hazards, everything from chemicals to potentially poisonous plants at times. Risk can be managed by assessing possible problems, preparing training materials, and then training employees for emergency situations, and the use of safe working procedures. That was a long one today, but if you have any questions, you can contact me down here in the landscape design classroom, but I appreciate your time. Have a great day, folks.